Pivotal. We're here to continue our discussion around this recent strike down of affirmative action in Supreme Court. One of the provisions that was made for affirmative action to continue was in military schools. Let's take a look. Chief Justice Roberts says, "No military academy is a party to these cases, however, and none of the courts below address the propriety of race-based admission systems in that context. The opinion also does not address the issue in light of the potentially distinct interests that military academies may present." In other words, affirmative action will stand in military institutions. Is it fair, is it just to shut affirmative action down in every institution except military institutions? I'd like to have an opinion about that, just like you have the right to your opinion. These are pivotal times and we're here to talk about it. Just recently, affirmative action was struck down in the courts, as we know, on June 29th, 2023. And as a result, PWIs, predominantly white institutions, no longer have to admit people on the basis of race. Well, we've talked about some of the misconceptions about the Black community needing a handout historically. We've looked at the wealth that was in our communities long before affirmative action kicked in and will be there long after affirmative action ends. One of the side notes is that as of now, affirmative action will continue in military academies. I want to bring us historically, again, I'm a historian, I love it, I'm going to always bring the historical perspective. One of the historical perspectives that I want us to turn our eyes to is World War I. Right after the war ended in 1918, over 360,000 Black troops returned to the United States. As a result, they were expecting to find, a democracy because they had gone and fought for democracy in other countries. Listen to this quote by Chad Williams. He's the author of Torchbearers of Democracy, African American Soldiers in the World War I Era. He says, "Black soldiers symbolize the hopes and aspirations African Americans had for true democracy in the United States after the war. Conversely, many white Americans viewed returning Black soldiers as a threat because of their military service and exposure to new ideas about race and equality, especially in France. Many Black veterans were victims of a wave of racial violence in 1919 that came to be known as Red Summer." We talked about that summer of 1919, that Red Summer, in the last episode where there were 25 riots throughout the United States. One thing that I'd like to bring attention to is that this wave of racial violence hit so hard that there were even African American soldiers lynched in their uniforms. So we went over and we fought for democracy and the defense of democracy for a country that when we returned did not want to give jobs, did not want to give and did not give the rights that we thought we would have. And we were expected to not believe that what we saw in France was going to happen over here in the United States. I find it extremely interesting that the United States found us worthy to fight in their armies, but not worthy to get jobs when we return home. I want to juxtapose that to the recent decision that affirmative action could stand in military institutions. So you're telling me in every other academy we can shut the door based on race, but military? The audacity of the Supreme Court to rule that that was legal and to justify it that we need diversity of troops is nothing more than Red Summer 2023. Because what you're saying to me is, no, you can't necessarily come to my academic institutions based on race, but come on over here and fight. Come on over here and fight for the democracy of a country that does not recognize you as a democratic citizen. The hypocrisy is astounding. And Chief Justice Roberts needs to be held accountable, and it needs to be brought to the forefront that is the caveat, that is the side note, that is the thing that was allowable were military institutions. How many of our sons and our daughters will go and fight for this country and come back and be told, no, you cannot enter this institution because we no longer allow race-based admittance? But yeah, but it's fine if you want to go to West Point, you can go there. But there, you definitely will not make it into Harvard based on race. But we'll let you into these others. And so I find that the United States over time has expected African Americans to continue to accept, to continue to forgive. And biblically, yes, we're told 70 times 7. Biblically, we're also told to cry loud, spare not, open your mouths for the dumb, in the cause of all who are appointed to destruction. God has a strong standard for the mistreatment and the hypocrisy and the misjudgment of his people. I just wanted to bring that to the forefront because I don't know how many of us actually took the time to look at all that the decision entailed, but that is a part of it. And so when our troops came back from World War I, that was one of the things that they were met with. Listen, you cannot have our jobs, you cannot stay in our neighborhoods, but yes, we're in agreement that you need to go and fight. And so, the same thing is happening again. I want you to drop a line below. Let us know what you think about that. Do you think that it's fair? That you think that it's just? Forget fair. Do you think that it's just that affirmative action be shut down in every academic institution except military academies? Drop a line below and let me know what you think about that. This is Pivotal with Net Production Studios. Thank you so much for your time. As always, bow before God, stand before man. Thank you so much for watching.